Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to Chemistry CC for you. Today, as promised, we are going to do HCU MSc Chemistry entrance question discussion, and we will be discussing some questions from organic, physical, and very a few questions from the inorganic part as well. So let's begin without wasting much time. The first question today is the reaction between dioxygen and PTF6 provides. So we have four different options here with different species. So the answer here is O2 plus and PTF6 minus. So the reaction between dioxygen and PTF6 provides this particular species, which is O2, O2 plus and PTF6 minus. So why is this important? So the oxygen react with platinum hexafluoride to produce dioxygenyl hexafluoroplatinate 5, and the reaction proceeds at room temperature, and this is an orange colored compound. So you need to remember the color of this. Sometimes the question can be asked that way as well. So the answer is option D, O2 plus PTF6 minus. Now please write this down, because this question I have seen in multiple question papers, not just for HCU. In one of the previous year papers of BHU also I have seen this question. Now next question, the reagent that can perform the following transformation is. So here we have a carbonyl group which is an acid chloride, and then we have aldehyde formed. So let's see how this reaction takes place. It is by LiAlHO butyrase. So let's see. So the acid chloride to aldehyde conversion is the one that is happening here, and it is done by lithium tritertiary butoxy aluminum hydride. This we already know about lithium aluminum hydride as a very strong reducing agent. It's very powerful. LiAlH4 is very powerful. It reduces almost anything that comes in this way. But this particular reagent is almost selective towards the conversion of acid chloride to aldehyde. So that would be the answer. Please keep this one in mind, and please watch that video that we have done as a shortcut to memorize different functional group conversion and the reducing agent associated with that. I'll give the link in the description box. It will be really helpful for the reducing agent portion, and I am going to do a video on the oxidizing agent part of the same, that is the different functional group conversion and the reduced oxidizing agent used for those conversions. So please do watch that video that I am giving in the description box. It will be helpful for you. So for the conversion of acid chloride to aldehyde, that is the reduction of acid chloride to aldehyde, we are using lithium tritertiary butoxy aluminum hydride, and it is a it is weaker reducing agent than lithium aluminum hydride. Now the third question, the intermediate in the following transformation is. So here we have an anthranylic acid, then furan, and we get a product here. So we need to know what is the answer out of the intermediate formed in this reaction. This was asked in CUSET exam last year. That is just the intermediate, only this and the anthranylic acid and HNO2 was given. So we need to know this full reaction. I am going to explain this whole reaction in the next slide. So let's see. So the answer is benzene. Now let's take a look at the reaction that is taking place. So at first we have anthranylic acid, and since we have HNO2, okay, we have HNO2, and that is diazotization takes place. Diazotization to form this species. There will be N2 and also COO minus. And from this, the carbonyl group will be getting transferred like this. This will be the carbon dioxide will move, and the movement takes place like this. So first with HNO2, anthranylic acid get diazotized, and this particular species will be formed. Then CO2 will be removed from this to form a negative charge at this position. Then the negative charge will be moving here, and the N2 will be going out. N2 will be going out, minus N2, and we will get benzene. So instead of HNO2, they can also give NaNO2 and HCl as well. That is both for diazotization itself. So either they can give HNO2 directly or NaNO2 and HCl. So the intermediate is benzene. Anthranylic acid with HNO2 first forms gets diazotized to form this particular species. and carbon dioxide will be getting removed and the formation of benzene takes place. Now what happens? In the next, to lead to the product, there will be Diels-Alder reaction between benzene and furan. Let's take a look at that reaction. So what happens? We have benzene here and the furan. So this double bond moves to this position. One among the three bonds of benzene will be moving to this carbon of the furan, and this double bond will be transferred to here, and we will get the product 1,4 dihydro 1,4 epoxy naphthalene. So let's see once again. Let's go to the question. So the question is like this. See, we got the product. So here two reactions are taking place. At first, the diazotization of anthranylic acid and the intermediate benzene will be formed, and further we will be having the Diels-Alder reaction between benzene and furan to form the product. Please keep this reaction in these reactions and the names in mind. Please keep the name of Diels-Alder reaction also in mind. Can be asked in some other way as well. Without, they'll be giving product and ask you to find the intermediate as well as the name of the reaction. That time you have to remember this. Now the next question. Edman degradation is usually used for determination of amino acid sequences in protein, synthesis of nucleic acids from nucleosides, preparation of one carbon-less aldose from parent aldose, and sequencing of a nucleic acid. So the answer is determination of amino acid sequence in a protein. So what happens? In Edman degradation, the amino terminal residue will be labeled and it will be cleaved from the peptide. The other part of the peptide will not be disrupted or disturbed. Only the terminal group will be labeled and cleaved. And in this way, the whole sequencing can be done. So Edman degradation is used to determine the amino acid sequence in protein. Option A is the right answer for fourth question. Now the next question, the active site of nitrogenase contains. This is a question from bioinorganic chemistry. So the answer is MO and Fe. These are the ones which are mainly found in the nitrogenase. So let's see what nitrogenases are. Nitrogenases are enzymes that are produced by blue-green algae, that is cyanobacteria, blue-green bacteria. So these are responsible for the nitrogen fixation, and they help in the reduction of nitrogen to ammonia. So in this way nitrogen fixation takes place. And what is the specialty of nitrogenases? This is the only family of enzyme that can catalyze the reaction, that is reduction of N2 to ammonia. So the answer is MO and Fe, and let's take a look at its structure. So the structure goes like this. You can see here we have molybdenum here and a lot of iron are present. So this is the answer. The active site of nitrogenase consists of molybdenum and iron. Now towards the sixth question. In the sixth question, the CFSE for tetrahedral COCl4 2- is given as 8000 per centimeter. The CFSE for octahedral COCl6 4- should be there. So the answer would be definitely in per centimeter. Let's see. Let's take a look at the equation. So the equation is delta O equal to 9/4 delta T, or we can also write delta T is equal to 4/9 delta O. So this is the equation that we are using. Now delta T is already given as 8000. It is just direct substitution. So 9 into delta T, which is 8000, divided by 4. We get 18,000 per centimeter. Option C is the right answer. Please keep this particular equation in mind. There are a few numericals that would come in inorganic chemistry, and one such question is this one, the CFSE comparison, CFSE of tetrahedral and octahedral calculation from one another. So if tetrahedral is given, CFSE for tetrahedral is given, we can calculate those of octahedral and vice versa. Okay, now next question, the seventh question. The solubility product of BaSO4, the molecular weight is given at 25 degrees Celsius is 0.0023 milligram per ml. The solubility product Ksp in mole square liter raised to -2 of BaSO4 is close to. So first of all, molar mass of BaSO4 is 233 gram per mole. And secondly, we need to take a look at the reaction. BaSO4 gives Ba2 plus SO4 2 minus. That is 1 mole of BaSO4 gives 1 mole of Ba2 plus and 1 mole of SO4 2 minus. These are the things primarily you need to keep in mind. Now, secondly, the solubility is given as 0.0023 milligram per ml. We can write it as gram per liter because here when we convert milligram into gram, we have into 10 raised to minus 3, and that is in the numerator. So in the denominator also we will be have into 10 raised to minus 3 when we are converting milliliter into liter. So gram by into 10 raised to minus 3 into 10 raised to, both these get cancelled, and we will be having the same answer, 0.0023 gram per ml, or we can also write it as 2.3 into 10 raised to minus 3 gram per liter. So what have we done here? Since 10 raised to minus 3 comes in both numerator and denominator, 0.0023 can be directly written as 0.0023 gram per ml, I mean gram per liter. And we have written it in forms of power. 0.0023 can also be written as 2.3 into 10 raised to minus 3. So we have the solubility of BaSO4 and molar mass of BaSO4, and we know the reaction. In the next step, we will be calculating the molar solubility of BaSO4. The molar solubility will be solubility divided by the molar mass. So 2.3 into 10 raised to minus 3 divided by 233, and we will get 1 into 10 raised to minus 5 mole per liter. That can be written as S. Molar solubility can be written as S. Now, Ksp can be written as the product of Ba2 plus into SO4 2 minus. I mean concentration. This 2 plus and SO4 2 minus will be coming inside the bracket. Okay. So the concentration of Ba2 plus and concentration of SO4 2 minus. Since molar solubility is same, both the concentration will be S each, since this is the molar solubility. So we can also write Ksp as S square, or 1 into 10 raised to minus 5 whole square, that is equal to 1 into 10 raised to minus 10 mole square liter raised to minus 2. So our answer will be option B, 1 into 10 raised to minus 10. So what we have done, we will be looking at the equation. We will find the molar solubility and then equate the solubility product as square of molar solubility, and we get the answer directly. That is the 7th question. Now the 8th question, the spectroscopic technique used to study the electronic transitions involved in, this is very simple, it is UV visible spectroscopy, and we will be doing a video on spectroscopy. Please let me know how many of you need a theory part video of spectroscopic techniques. That is briefly before your exam. If you need it like a crash course, you can let us know. We will be doing that video as well. Please let us know. So the answer of this question is UV visible spectroscopy, the spectroscopic technique used to study the electronic transition involved in the molecules. Now the 9th question, again as I said, this is an important question from the part of P block elements. The oxidation state of phosphorus in orthophosphoric acid and orthophosphorus acids are respectively. This is also a direct question. Please write this down because it will be important for you to memorize this later on. So orthophosphoric acid has the oxidation state of phosphorus as 5, and also phosphorus acid has the oxidation state of phosphorus as 3. So 5 and 3. Option C, 5 and 3 would be the correct answer. Write this down. I repeat, because like we have done in the question part of P block elements, you need to always write the points down, because this can be repeated multiple times in all exams, and it is very difficult to learn it by heart each of the time. So whenever you come across the questions, write it down and read it before your exam to quickly refresh your memory on this phosphoric acid, phosphorus acid, etc. Now the 10th question today is from the electrochemistry part. When a current of 2 ampere was passed for 80 minutes through a solution of divalent cation, 2.8 gram of metal was deposited on the cathode. The atomic weight of the metal would be closest to. So this is an approximate value. So the answer is 56. Now let's see how we get that answer. So first of all, the weight of metal deposited is 2.8 gram. And the quantity of electricity Q, which is in coulombs, passed will be current into time in seconds. Remember, this time should be in seconds, and this one should be in ampere, and the answer would be in coulomb. So the next step, we will be finding the quantity of electricity Q passed as 2, that is the current passed is 2 ampere, and time was given in minutes, so we'll convert it into second by multiplying it with 60. So 80 into 60, so 9600 coulomb will be the quantity of electricity passed. Now the equivalent weight of metal would be equal to the weight of metal deposited into F, which is the Faraday's, and divided by Q. So we know the value of F as 96,500, and the weight of metal deposited is 2.8 grams. So 2.8 into 96,500 divided by 9,600 would be the equivalent weight of the metal. Now let's see, the cation is a divalent cation. If it was a monovalent cation, the equivalent weight and atomic weight will be the same. But since it is a divalent cation, atomic weight will be equivalent weight into 2. So the answer would be 2 into 28.1, that is 56.2, or approximately 56. I hope you understood. So when the weight of metal deposited is given, you have to first calculate the quantity of electricity, wherein the current should be in ampere, time should be in seconds, and the quantity of electricity would be given in coulombs. Then equivalent weight of metal can be calculated from the weight of metal deposited, Faraday's constant, and divided by the quantity of electricity. Then see whether the cation is monovalent or divalent or trivalent. According to that, you have to find the atomic weight from the equivalent weight. So that is the answer here. So that's all for today. We have discussed 10 questions. I tried to cover some physical chemistry portions as well, because we have not done many physical chemistry questions in our previous videos. We'll be doing more of this in the coming days. Thank you so much for watching. If you need any portions, please ask in the comment section below. Keep watching, keep practicing, revise through all the portions. You have plenty of time. Stay safe and do well. All the best, everyone. Like the video, share the video with all your friends, and if you have not subscribed yet, please subscribe to our channel. Thank you so much. And yeah, we are going to begin the quiz. As we said, it will be beginning tomorrow. I'll be uploading a short video about the rules, regulations, etc. tomorrow morning, and I hope all of you can participate in that. This is just for fun and information. Like, we are thinking that more people will be participating, and you will be getting more interested in the chemistry portion. We'll be asking some general chemistry questions as well, and also interesting chemistry factual questions as well. So we'll be trying to include all those. So thank you for watching. Good day, everyone.